Good afternoon and welcome to a wild and windy Gungahlin enclosed for Women's National Premier League here in Canberra. It's Gungahlin United versus Tuggeranong United in the latest round of action. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Joining me this afternoon up at the home of Gungahlin United is Maddie Moore. Welcome, Maddie. Nice day for it.
Yeah, thanks for the warm welcome, Russ. Unfortunately, Gungahlin's not quite as warm as that, but yeah, big windy day and interesting to see what sort of a contest we get and how that may actually affect the state of play.
You can probably see from your pictures on the screen that the wind is blowing from right to left as we look at it, and it's fairly hefty, isn't it? And it's going to have, as you said, going to have a major bearing on the outcome of the match, you'd think, because Gungahlin United, last time we watched them play, and as they have done all season under Diego Iglesias, so they want to play some football, don't they? They want to keep it on the floor, but these conditions aren't really conducive to that.
No, that's right. I mean, we watched them slice and dice Monaro effectively, and the precision and the rotation they had is great. But what it probably lends with the wind is Tuggeranong's ability to play the long ball and get in behind really changes the dynamic of the game, especially with that wind, and how Gungahlin can potentially adjust to that and whether they can.
Round two, these sides met. Gungahlin United came home with a 6-0 win, but it's a different Tuggeranong United side since then, hasn't it? They've won their last two matches as well. They've had a bye in between, but they have beaten Canberra Olympic 2-0 and Wagga City Wanderers 2-0, so they've tightened up at the back. They've found some goals in the form of Christy Helmers as well, and they're looking at a different side to the one that was beaten at Canberra earlier in the year.
Yeah, that's right. There's nothing like momentum to help build your season along, and back-to-back victories there, and as you mentioned, the bye would have given them a chance to readdress a couple of things and tinker again. So, you know, good back four, goal-scoring opportunities, and confidence will be sky-high in the green and white today.
And for the third game in succession, Michael Aldred's been able to name an unchanged side, which we'll go through in a bit. But that, as you said, the momentum consistency is probably the key.
Yeah, being able to keep the same 11 on the park week in and week out for any coach makes it a lot simpler. It makes the messages easier. And the combinations between the players as well. The more often players are playing together, the more success you tend to have, and we see it year in, year out with any competition around the world, and you listen to people and they talk about the teams that get to use the least amount of players are the teams that tend to be the most successful.
Gungahlin United will want the 3 points today to keep up the pressure on the CU Academy, who moved 4 points clear of them yesterday, albeit having played 3 games more, with a 7-1 win over Canberra Olympic. Hayley Taylor-Young with 5 goals. Isabella Barrett and Annalise Grove for Canberra United Academy. Emma Finch pulling one back for Canberra Olympic, but another huge goal haul for Hayley Taylor-Young, and she's not going to stop there, is she? I'm sure we're going to be talking about plenty more before the season's done.
Yeah, no, 5 again for her last night, and probably could have had 2 or 3 more, but she'll be red hot on that golden boot race, and no doubt there's plenty more goals for her to come.
A couple of latest scores for you. At half-time over at Deakin Stadium, Canberra FC in 4th 0, Woden Western FC in 5th 0, and Wagga City Wanderers lead Monero Panthers by a goal to 0. The team bottom of the table looking for their second win of the season. We'll keep you up to date with those 2 matches. Looking at the league table before the teams come out today, Gungahlin in 3rd on 18 points. As I said, 4 points behind the Academy and a point clear of Canberra FC with a game in hand. And Tuggeranong United down in 6th on 9 points. So for them, really, a win today would keep them in the race to the top 4, but obviously a loss if results go the other way for Woden Western and Canberra FC is going to leave them with a lot to do.
Yeah, you'd suspect today if they couldn't pick up the 3 points, it's probably too much. Leave your run a little bit too late, but 3 points for Tuggeranong today basically tightens up the race for that 4th spot, and you know, given the scoreline that's going on between Canberra FC and Woden Western at the moment, that tends to become a really, really interesting race. And Gungahlin United, with a game in hand, have got the ability to potentially put pressure on the Academy for that 2nd spot while they secure their 3rd for the time being.
Big match in the Men's Premier League this afternoon as well. Tuggeranong versus Tigers FC. Kicks off at 3 o'clock. We'll keep you abreast of that as well as we can. The reserve grade game here finished in a 1-0 win for the visitors. Tuggeranong claiming a goal after 13 seconds in that from Mackenzie Alcock. And she's on the bench for first grade as well. So if you blinked, if you missed the start of that one. And Tuggeranong took the 3 points.
Yeah, I hope any of her personal supporters didn't turn up to the ground late, because when she says, "Did you see my goal?" that's probably not a question you want to have to answer. But that's brilliant. They're 13 seconds in, and we caught the end of that game, and Tuggeranong were good value for those points, and they held up well. And no doubt that's also a sign of the success they've had in the first grade arena as well. So being able to name the same 11 in first grade means you've got a consistent squad underneath, and that starts to flow through. And plenty of positive signs for Tuggeranong heading in today.
And I wouldn't blame anyone for missing the start of that game because the canteen here at Gungahlin Enclosed is outstanding. I had a schnitzel roll down there. Tanya Katsoulis made it. It was absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best canteens in Canberra. If you're around at Gungahlin United Women's Football, come along because you won't be disappointed.
No, it's probably the best canteen in town, and Tanya is gold. She's gold medal for any kind of food that you need. She's wonderful value and good for a chat as well. And people talk about the Bunnings sausages, but this would be my first pick if I had to go anyway.
100%, and you're missing out if you're not here. She comes down from Friday to Sunday to sort the canteens out down here. Lives on the Central Coast with her son Mikey, who's up at the Mariners Youth up there. So, real club person through and through.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's not. We talk about our game surviving on volunteers, and you know she is the gold standard in that. For her to commit to continue supporting the club after Mikey's moved up to the Central Coast, having been a Gungahlin kid, is a real testament to her character and a real testament to the club's appeal, really.
Well, let's have a look at these two teams as we wait for them to come out, starting with Gungahlin United. Diego Iglesias has gone with his usual 4-1-2-3 formation. Sophie Spice in goal, Ruby Gambali, Maya Majratowski, Madeline Percival and Brigitte Sander across the back. Stella DeMarco at the point of the midfield, Rachel Corbett and Natalie DeMarco in front of her. Front three of Erica Pennyfield, Elka Atulu and Ella Brown.
Yeah, strong lineup there again. Pretty much exactly the same as we saw the last time, and we saw the two DeMarco girls really rack up a storm and have a field game, and Elka Atulu at the 9 being able to receive balls, score from anywhere and drop off the line. Those three will be absolutely key to how Gungahlin go today.
Two DeMarcos in the Gungahlin team, three Daisleys in the Tuggeranong United lineup. Their lineup, what Michael Aldred has picked, is a 4-2-3-1. Miriam McLaren in goal, Zoe Terry, Steph Coates, Lara Mustaine and Claire Falls across the back. Rhiannon Daisley and Sarah Daisley hold the midfield just in front of those. Three in front of that, Christy Helmers, Alice Lynn and Sophie Bowie, the creativity. Chloe Daisley leading the line.
Yeah, good lineup there, and as we said, a consistent lineup now for them. Sophie Bowie will be one I'll be interested to see, but Steph Coates at the back, she's the heart and soul of that group, and she can drive them to bigger and better things as they start to go along. It'll be really interesting to see. And don't sleep on Zoe Terry at right back there. She's got bags of pace and can run for days. And if you blink, you'll miss her. And that'll create problems for everyone.
Nia Southwell is your referee today. Just come back from giving birth. So she's back in action again. One of our best referees here in Canberra. Aisha Strutt and Alexandra McKay on the line. Tuggeranong United in the green and white hoops like Celtic, and Gungahlin in the black and white like Juventus. Champions League.
Just waiting for the anthem to play.
Well, let's hope the wind doesn't cause too much problems. We've got a couple of players absent from Gungahlin today. Alex Patterson is overseas. Apparently, she's gone for the season now. She's off on a round-the-world trip or something, Europe or South America. And Freya Jacobson, who scored 3 goals this season, is in France for the World Cup as well. So she'll be disappointed probably this morning with the Matildas.
Yeah, so probably really enjoyed her time at the World Cup and running around. But if she was at that game today, as the rest of the nation, we're a little bit sombre as a result of that.
And on a more serious note, do you think if we have a lethargic start to this game, it won't be too surprising? Because I'd imagine out of this 22 that are starting the game, nearly all of them would have been up at 4:30 to watch that this morning, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. As a coach, you kind of hope that a couple of them had a subscription to Optus Sport or something like that, so they could watch it on delay or watch it on demand. But the allure, as you and I both know, Russ, of live sport and World Cup football is probably just too much, and we're all a bit bleary-eyed, but possibly a bit of adrenaline running through the system as well as they get ready to kick off. Maybe they take inspiration. They saw Kira Knight's goal and think, I'm next.
The allure of live sport indeed, because that's why we're here. Gungahlin United versus Tuggeranong United in the Women's National Premier League, about to get underway. Nia Southwell just checking with her 2 assistants and pops us off, and away we go. Tuggeranong attacking the goal to our right. Here's the first touch for Brown for Gungahlin. DeMarco in midfield, attacking what I like to call the Magnet Mart home timber and hardware Bunnings warehouse end.
I think we need an acronym, Russ. I'm not sure I can continue to get that one out as Gungahlin turn out the ball. But again, you can see the 2 DeMarco girls on the ball early and starting to trying to control the game. Looking
to get some action early. Pennyfield looking to deliver into the penalty area towards a near post, and Miriam McLaren has her first touch of the afternoon, and it's a confident one from the goalkeeper. Already, though, Gungahlin looking to apply some width to the match. Challenged by Helmers. Just prods it forward, but it should be easily picked up at the back from Percival. Sends it forward to DeMarco. Out to this near side, and Sander was advancing forward, and she's gone further forward again, and that's an uncharacteristic touch from Stella DeMarco.
Yeah, you can see there, though, just the ability for DeMarco to find space in the middle of the park, consistently looking over her shoulder to identify, can she go forward, can she go back, and yeah, uncharacteristic mistake, but interesting to see how she goes about her business today.
There's Percival with the long ball forwards. The break in midfield and picked up by Atulu. Just lifts that one forward and it's going to zip away off that turf. Pennyfield's not going to get there. Atulu usually running the line. Are we looking at the same formations we've talked about pre-kickoff here, Matty?
I think the formation's pretty much what they had on paper. You can just see Atulu peeling off the line there and looking. What's interesting to see is Gambali out on the right, really pushing high. She'll just have to be careful that she doesn't take Pennyfield's space as well. So as they start to get closer and closer together, one's going to have to start shifting inside, especially as Atulu drops off. That'll then create the 9, and as Atulu becomes an extra 10. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage those rotations.
Words of wisdom of Matty Moore, NTC assistant coach this year. Picked your squad last week alongside Anthony Tuggeranong.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be an exciting time of year.
Here's Chloe Daisley for Tuggeranong, just steps away from the challenge of Ratalski, who comes back to snap at her heels.
Good pressure there from Daisley and good follow-up too, to put pressure on the centre-back. So it would have been easy just to allow Gungahlin to play out there, but now they've got a bit of pocket of space to build some pressure.
Falls with a throw, looks for Daisley. Penalised for handball, bounced up a bit awkwardly on the forwards. Ask a lot of her as a lone striker, really, to run across the line, and she is tireless when she does it.
Yeah, the lone strike is one of the hardest things to do in football, but she is very, very good at it. And if you can occupy those central defenders, it actually means that the blocking behind you gets set, so those gaps are a little bit smaller, and potential on that counter-attack, you're a lot more effective.
Might have seen the strength of the wind there from that free kick. Just flew forward. His Helmer's looking for Terry. Brown back to hat-trick in the game we did against the Panthers a couple of weeks ago in round 7, Ella Brown. His Helmer's chasing with Sander, and she's got away here for a moment. An opportunity for Tuggeranong if she can deliver into the area, but that was asking much for Sophie Bowie. Good positive start, though, from the visitors. Pennyfield comes infield to DeMarco, and Gungahlin will build from the back. And there's the example of the way they keep it nice and calmly, and as I said, they turn it all over. But a good start for Tuggeranong.
Yeah, absolutely. Asking questions there, and on that right-hand side there, looks like Tuggeranong might be able to target Brigitte Sander on that right-hand side and ask some questions of her.
Well, Pennyfield's broken the offside trap here. Flag has stayed down, an opportunity to swing this into the penalty area. McLaren's missed it, and it's dropped in the net. And Pennyfield's cross shot has given Gungahlin the lead inside 5 minutes, and the first time she's broken clear of the offside trap, she gives the Gunners the advantage.
Yeah, the killer ball in there, and one of those unfortunate aspects of football with the keeper, probably with that win that we were talking about earlier, having a little bit of an effect in terms of, because we've seen the keeper, she's looked strong, her hands have been good, and that one just starting to drift inside a little bit more, and the ball above the head she's unable to collect, and 1-0 to Gungahlin.
Yeah, it may have had something to do with that wind. May have caught it just as she wanted. And after Tuggeranong looked bright at one end, they're 1-0 down. Not ideal for them. Here's DeMarco. Atulu. Very competent at coming deep and getting hold of the ball, and very calm in possession. Ratalski square to Percival. Good pressure from Daisley, but very much on her own. Here's Ratalski. Sends it forwards.
You just see Atulu getting off the back line there as well, and Gungahlin sending a runner forward to lay off, so they really got their interchange of positioning going well.
Corbett's asked Brown to run after that. There's been a goal at Deakin Stadium. Jamie Berkeley has given Canberra FC the lead after 54 minutes. So FC 1, Woden Western 0. Possibly as expected.
Yeah, I probably would have thought that goal might have come a little bit earlier, and there'll probably be a little bit of relief on the Canberra FC bench there, given the tightness for the last couple of spots in the final. It's interesting to see how Tuggeranong take this goal kick now. They're into the wind.
Go short to Terry. Coates helps her out, but she's asked a bit too much. Corbett's won it. Here's Brown. Back to Corbett. And Brown had a chance to turn there. Didn't get the communication.
Yeah, that's what we talked about before, where Nat DeMarco was able to have a look over her shoulder and identify there. And if you're not getting the calling, and the communication will be key, but on a windy day like this, it's hard to hear it at times too. So taking that emphasis of making that decision yourself will be important.
Sander getting the touch on it. It's going to fall to DeMarco. It's Natalie DeMarco. Bit of time on the ball. Just pushes it through, and Corbett had stolen a march for a second. There's a chance for Tuggeranong to bring it clear. And as we expected at the moment, it's Gungahlin having the better of it, and they have the lead if you've just tuned in. The scross from Erica Pennyfield.
A good old scross, yeah. There's still chances here for Tuggeranong if they can get control of that ball and look to expose those wider areas. Gungahlin look pretty vulnerable there.
Here's DeMarco. Looks to spread it wide to Pennyfield. And she'll go back to Nat DeMarco. Gungahlin finding their groove early. Pennyfield asked to chase after that, and Mustang gets rid of it.
You can just see Tuggeranong's defensive line there, so they're setting almost with a 5 there, and they've just got to be careful that they're all not sliding to that one side, because you're starting to get some separation, which means the holes that Corbett can jump into are becoming a little more prominent.
Here's a Tulu, and the flag goes up for an offside. Both these sides have fixtures next week, well, of course, and we'll be at McKellar Park, myself and you, Maddie, for Belconnen United versus Gungahlin United. That should be an absolute belter of a match.
Yeah, that's something that'll be really exciting to see, and I'll be very happy to be there and joining us. I mean, that's got all the hallmarks of a regular season classic there that could really shape that top 2 aspect and give Gungahlin a chance to make a statement in regards to where they sit in the premiership.
Tuggeranong United, for their part, they'll be at home to Monero Panthers on the Sunday. Bar TV Sports bringing all these games live. On that Sunday will be the AIS with the men's Gungahlin United. They'll take on Canberra Olympic in a top-of-the-table belter in the NPL. So 2 huge games to look forward to next weekend. Right in the here and now, though, it's the Gunners leading Tuggeranong by Pennyfield's goal to 0 and dictating the tempo and the pace of the game with all the possession. Rotowski's ball forwards.
Gungahlin have just got to be a little bit careful here. Tuggeranong look like they've got their blocks sorted, their defensive block, and the key will be that they don't overplay this wind and get too far away from what they're used to.
Corbett looks to roll it through, and there was a tidy ball for DeMarco, but it just ran away from her. And Miriam McLean was happy to see it into her hands and will try and get a Tuggeranong attack going, but at the moment it's coming right back at them. Here's Hilmers. Mustaine just lifts the ball over the top, but there's no one there.
Yeah, Helmers had come in to pick up the ball, and that's where the lone striker of Daisley's got a lot of work to do. She's trying to identify the pockets of where it might go, and a little bit of stress from the centre-backs.
Corbett bundles her off the ball now, asks Brown to chase one down against Terry. And Mustaine's there to clear. Helmers keeps it in. When we did the Tuggeranong Riverina game, myself and Grace Gill a couple of weeks ago, Alice Lynn had a huge impact on that game in the first 10 minutes or so here. She's hardly had a kick in the middle of the park.
Yeah, and that's the dominance that Gungahlin have had early. They've been able to keep that ball and maintain possession. With Tuggeranong, really, other than when they've got a forward press, been able to get any kind of control on that ball.
Here they come again. Foot in from Sarah Daisley defensively. Helmers finds Terry. Looks for Chloe Daisy. 3 shirts in and around her. That's a good turn, though. It is Chloe Daisley. Back to Helmers. Now Sarah Daisley, and she sends it down looking for the runner, but should be very easy for Madeline Percival to tidy up, in a first touch for Sophie Spice after about 10 minutes.
Nice little signs there from Tuggeranong, where they're able to get the ball to Daisley's feet, start a little bit of a combination. It shows what they've got to offer.
Brown's ball, and there's a huge amount of space for Sander to run into here. 3 shirts in support in midfield. Swings it in towards one of them, and a good foot out from Mustaine ahead of a Tulu. But everything's coming down this near side, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it's a bit warmer with the grandstand on this side of the field, but it's definitely coming all down this side of the pitch, and you'd probably be looking the next time that they broke down there to whip that ball in early. I mean, Gungahlin had a 3v2 in the box there and might have missed a trick.
Brown looks for DeMarco, who tries to help it to Corbett. Nice touch into the path of a Tulu. Flag goes up again, though. Tuggeranong's offside trap working quite well.
Yeah, and Gungahlin don't quite look as smooth as the last time that we saw them. We commented the last time we saw them about their ability to rotate in plays, fill in gaps, and it's a little bit disjointed at the moment. And that's a credit to Tuggeranong United and the defensive structure they've set up.
And possibly what we mentioned, Matty, the weather as well. I mean, it looks quite dark over there on the over the hills, doesn't it? You might get a bit of rain later on.
Yeah, as long as it's not snow, it's okay.
I feel like we're far enough north to get some. It's Stella DeMarco to Nat DeMarco. Pennyfield's made a great run through the middle, and great ball that is as well. And a lovely defensive touch back there from Coates. Needed to be. Danger's still not over there. Here's Corbett again. It's a good ball too. Bowie was back helping out her defence. The weight on that pass though from Nat DeMarco was perfect.
Yeah, it's again showing her class and her experience there to just put Gungahlin in a way as she picks up, and
Pennyfield swings it in towards the far post. It might come for Brown if she can keep it in. Swung the right foot at it.
yeah.
Won herself a corner. But every time it goes wide, there's problems for Tuggeranong United, and Michael Aldred's team need to sort that out sooner rather than later. They're going to have to defend this corner first. Ella Brown with it. Swings it in towards the near post, and that wind almost took it in.
Yeah, the big gust came at the right time there, and you're right about the wide areas. What's starting to happen is you've got the Gungahlin left and right back that are getting sucked right inside because they're worried about the threat of a Tulu and the on-running midfielders of Corbett and Nat DeMarco, and there's not a lot of trust or coverage there, which inevitably means that there's an overload in that wide area. So they're going to have to work through that communication or find a way to cut that ball to the wide area out through high pressure in the midfield.
Ball won by Lynn. Bowie gets a touch. She was beaten to it by Gungahlin. Mentioned it in the men's commentary yesterday at Belconnen and Woden. With the amount of videos and everything being recorded these days, you rarely get a surprise. If you do your homework, you should be knowing what's coming. It's up to the coaches to find a way to break down the norm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the amount of, like I said, with the amount of video, you would imagine there's coaches spending time and time poring over footage, and the fact that you can identify trends and who goes where and how they play means the preparation of footballers and teams should be much, much better.
Daisley was chasing that, but Ratalski helped out Brown, and here's a nice little triangle between Sander and DeMarco. Tulu back to Sander again. Nice build-up this from the Gunners. Ball in towards Corbett. Might fall for a Tulu. Took a touch and she fires one goal. It's a great effort that. Cannon's back off the crossbar. Keeper beaten. Pennyfield's going to pick up the pieces and swing it back into the danger zone, and in the end it's just prodded clear by Coates. Real chance for a second though for the Gunners. Once it left her foot as it comes in. Once it left a Tulu's boot, it looked goal bound all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some great lead-up play from Gungahlin. It was simple 1-2 touch play and wall passes and breaking down through that combination and playing the ball inside. And a Tulu, who we mentioned before the game and early on today, that's the biggest warning sign you're going to get. And if you give her another one of those, I think it's flying into one of those top bins.
Decent hit, wasn't it? She caught a fair piece of it. Coates was there. It's Corbett, and it's still... They can't get away. McLaren will tell us she had it covered. As any good goalkeeper would.
That's right, I left it. Always left it. It's a bit like when you're playing and missing the cricket. I was just having a practice swing.
Absolutely. The swing and the miss. Plenty of those when I played. Yeah. Never much connection. Daisley's off on a run here, and that's a good piece of defending from Ratalski to use a body to step across. Tulu, who struck that crossbar. Sander. It's a good start, Sander on this near side, and here they go again with the triangles. Here's a Tulu, runners left and right. One of them's Brown, and she's just straight offside. There wasn't much in that at all.
No, that was very tight, but again, nice combination play on the Gungahlin's left-hand side, and a smart ball by Tulu as well. She saw the players lined up and marked up, and it was able to identify that the reverse ball into Brown was the one that was on. Timing a little bit off, but again, positive signs. And again, Tuggeranong being broken down in that wide area, which won't please Michael Aldridge in any way, shape or form, as we start to see Tuggeranong try and find a different route out through here as Helms gets on the ball and starts to bring others into play.
Here's a Tulu. A couple of goals in the men's Premier League. Tuggeranong United 1, Tigers FC 1. And I can tell you, we'll come back to it in a second as ball soon. That's another flag. Sam Isabella, who Mitch Stevens signed from State League 1 Adfa in the week, has scored on debut. Tuggeranong's secret weapon, 10 games in State League 1 for Adfa, 28 goals. Comes into Premier League and has nicked a tap in at the far post, I'm told.
There we go.
Off the mark.
Maybe they're the only surprises you can get on film. You've got to find someone from State Leagues
Maybe
you
you
haven't
do.
seen before.
Well, it seems to have worked so far.
Yeah. No film, no worries.
Here's Brown. Lynn got the touch forwards. Turned by Daisley. Looking to step away into the sunshine. Comes back to Terry. Here's Sarah Daisley looking to lift it over the top, but just overhits that one. In patches, Tuggeranong playing some decent football.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time they break over halfway and they get in and around their final third, they look like they're going to cause Gungahlin a lot of problems. They've been able to hold the ball up and actually ask some good questions. And I think it's Chloe Daisley at the top there. She is a menace. For somebody who's probably not the biggest lone striker we've ever seen, she holds the ball up well and is very composed.
We saw her against Wagga and she just kept running all day long across the lines. Made me tired just watching. There's a Tulu winning the ball back, finding Stella DeMarco. Gungahlin goes back to Percival. A foot in from Rihanna Daisley. And DeMarco's there again to Nat DeMarco. Little back heel, lovely little touch to Stella DeMarco. Here's a Tulu. She might wind one up again here. Here's Nat DeMarco. Runners outside. They're picking their way through the Tuggeranong defence here. And the ball just bounces through to McLaren. Lovely stuff, though.
Yeah, some nice backyard football from the DeMarco girls, and you could probably say there, Nat DeMarco maybe taking a little bit too much on as she had Pennyfield outside of her. If she was able to have that quick head check and have a look, might have been a different result.
Cute back heel, though, wasn't it?
To
get her in. Good battle this from Tuggeranong, and Helmers just thunders into that one with Sander. It's added a new lease of life, this Tuggeranong tack, since coming back from America.
She looks a real threat on that right-hand side, and every time she's had the ball with a little bit of space, she's looked dangerous.
That's a good ball, that, from DeMarco over the top, and Pennyfield's away again here. She's got runners in support. Real chances for Gunners. Fired it to the near post when a cutback might have been the better option. But once again, Erica Pennyfield, who opened the scoring, is causing all sorts of problems on that flank.
Yeah, so again, the width of Gungahlin, they started to narrow off a little bit before, and I was starting to get a little bit worried, but they've added it in there great. And the thing that'll probably please Diego Iglesias in the coach's box is that Ruben Gambaldi, who's the right back, is the one who's flying through the middle looking for that cutback that you're talking about, Russ. So that just shows the intent of this team.
She didn't scream hard enough, did she? After making that run, you'd have said one or two things, not getting the cutback. Here's DeMarco, the two DeMarcos. So this is Stella, absolutely running this show at the moment. A Tulu with the stab forward. Helmers is back defending. Anywhere will do. But they can't get near the midfield too, can they?
No, the midfield is really where Tuggeranong are having their biggest issues. If they can't block that central area and the combinations of the DeMarcos and Corbett, it's going to be a long, long day.
Here's Sander, who's had as many touches as anyone in the first 20 minutes. Brown finds Percival. I think, if anything, the wind's picked up, which doesn't help anyone, not least us.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make for pleasant viewing unless you're at home watching on Bar TV. It's probably fantastic.
Yeah, feel free to let us know if you're nice and cosy.
You can just see Tuggeranong as they set up here. They've just got to be careful. They're going very man-to-man through that midfield area. And with the movement of that Gungahlin midfield, it's going to be really hard to keep up. They're almost going to have to look to switch to a zonal aspect there to be able to see the players and their movement.
Brown goes back to Sander. Wants the ball back and gets it. Keeping possession. Here's Percival. First time we've seen her stride forward this afternoon. Finds a Tulu. Percival's still going. And then runs into two shots. Still with the football there. And the prod only finds Helmers, who is back diligently. She's only got Chloe Daisley ahead, and she's asked the youngster to chase it, which she will diligently, but Gungahlin was always there.
Just wonder if there was an opportunity there, Russ, to switch that ball out to Bowie on the left-hand side. All the attention had been drawn to Daisley through the middle, and if they were able to get that ball on that left-hand side, I know it's hard in this wind, but in behind, there was no one in front.
Tulu goes square to DeMarco. She looks for that ball through the gap, but no one made the run. Very high line Tuggeranong have got here. Here's Pennyfield looking to spread it around the corner. And she's overhit it. Halfway through the first half, the home side lead thanks to that 5th-minute goal from Erica Pennyfields. And as much as they've dominated possession, apart from Matulu hitting the crossbar, they've not forced McLaren into too many saves just yet.
No, and other than that goal, McLaren's been good. Her hands have been good. She's dived well, and she's only spilt the one, but she spilt it in an area that she could pick up. So it's good. Tuggeranong will be happy, won't be happy that they're 1-0 down, but be reasonably happy with how they've held in this start.
There's Corbett. Good battle from Helmers and a free kick. Might be the first free kick we've had.
Yeah.
It's not been many, has it? It's flown quite nicely. It's been a very fluid match so far.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what Gungahlin do here. They've got the wind behind them, so you normally think that this is somewhere where you look to put it into the box, but with the wind, do you start to think about going for goal? And you can see that McLaren, the keeper, set herself on the goal lines, cleverly learning from the lessons of the past.
It's a long way out, and Brown has gone for goal, and that was a highly ambitious effort. She has got 6 goals this season. Not looking like adding a 7th from that decision.
No, and that's one of those ones where I think if you're going to take the shot from there, it's got to go in the air. So you've got to play it high. The wind's got the potential to take it with it, or potentially it dives off and it dips, and it asks different questions. Or you look to put it on the penalty spot, but it's got to be a really considered effort to hit the targets.
McLaren goes short with the goal kick. Coates lifts it forwards. Rotalski with the foot in.
Nothing wrong with that from Tuggeranong. Coates has got it there. She's played it long, and they're high up the field and created a battle, and now they're starting to inch their way down the field.
Helmers asks Daisley to chase it. Percival's there, happy to go back to her keeper. And Spice takes the touch. Finds DeMarco. Brown. Not sure she got anything on it, but either way it worked. She's found Sander in space. The Tulu in field. But Terry was back to defend. Here's Helmers. Looking cross-field perhaps for the pass over the top. Lynn is the target. It might hold up for her as well. But Gungahlin was there. That's the ball you were looking for a couple of minutes ago, Matt.
Yeah, it's nice to see that they've identified it, and as you can see, the effect of that wind holding it up. So even if that play is a little further back than you would normally anticipate, if you get that height underneath the ball, it's going to give them every opportunity. And the Gungahlin central defensive pair are normally good in the air. You could see that was hard for them to judge. It changes everything.
Brown looking to slide one through for Sander to chase. Just on her heels for a moment. And Coates would have won the race anyway. It's DeMarco, lovely touch to Tulu. So calm in possession. Brown's ball, good pick as well from Corbett. Pennyfield's made the run to the right-hand side. She's going to get in here again, Pennyfield, and a decent ball across goal. Sander is going to retrieve it. Put under pressure straight away from Zoe Terry, who defends that very well. But once again, Erica Pennyfield causing Clare Falls all sorts of issues down that right-hand side.
Yeah, that width from Pennyfield again, and they're whipping a nice ball in. Disappointed from Gungahlin that they didn't have runners in the box there. Almost waiting for Pennyfield to do it all on her own. And again, when Sander picked it up, but that sliding aspect of the Tuggeranong defence isn't quite there, and now they're getting caught where one's starting to drop, so their offside trap's not going to quite come into play as much if they're having players drop off that line to cover for the space in behind.
Is that a consequence of a Tulu dropping too deep, or when she's got the ball then not hitting that number 9 role?
Yeah, absolutely. As the theory would be that if a Tulu comes off, somebody's got to fill. So you're looking for a DeMarco or a Corbett to fill, or potentially, Sander, who's filling in as a left striker here, or Brown when she's back in her regular position to slide in and take care of that. And that's part of the rotation that we would expect to see, and that's what we mentioned before. They don't quite, don't get me wrong, Gungahlin look good, but they're not haven't got quite the same traction as we saw probably a month ago when we were out at the RIS.
Brown looking to turn their possessional superiority into more goals. DeMarco's swapping passes. Here's Brown again. Skips away from Helmers. It's a good strong challenge from Daisley. And a chance for Helmers to perhaps go forward, but she takes her off the ball. Brown finds DeMarco. And Ella Brown once more looking to lift it forward. Tulu has stayed onside. And she's got it back here from Nat DeMarco, but the bounce doesn't help her out at all. Held up in the wind, didn't it? Yeah. Here's Sander. Good strong challenge from Terry. And then sends it forward to Chloe Daisley. Percival for Gunners and almost squeezed it through. Mustaine was there. Daisley wins a header. And once again, Helmers can't squeeze it past Ella Brown. Seems to be no way through this Gungahlin defence just yet. Bowie came to this near side to get involved. Yeah, it's not quite working in the final third for Tuggeranong.
No, not quite, but they're showing enough to cause Gungahlin a little bit of concern, and we can see the Gungahlin coaching staff in front of us who are a little bit tenser than they would have liked, given the way they've been dominating the game, and they're only 15 minutes out from half-time. They probably would have wanted more.
Brown swinging it cross-field. Mustaine will eat that up easily, but can only find Percival with a clearance. And Sophie Price hasn't had anything to do except field a couple of these back passes.
Yeah, it's what every coach dreams. You hope your goalkeeper gets a little bit bored, or mostly bored.
Here's a Tulu, ran away from DeMarco, but she's continued to run if she can squeeze it through for DeMarco. Lovely touch from Stella DeMarco to get away from the first challenge, and then it's hacked down, and this is within shooting territory.
Absolutely. Great skill there from DeMarco, and a really nice little touch to get around the first defender, and smart to turn back inside, and she's taken the foul. But again, the warning signs there with Tuggeranong and their back line there, with one pulling out and creating that jagged edge as a Tulu comes off, one follows. Big hole, and that's creating problems. So.
Well, a Tulu struck the bar from a similar range in free play. Now she's got a chance from the set piece. Miriam McLaren will be worried from here, I think, with this win behind her as well. If this is on target, this has got a great chance of doubling the Gunners' lead. Tulu over the free kick. What's she got? Lifts it over the wall. It's dipping, but not quite far enough as far as Gungahlin are concerned. Another warning sign, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a little too close on a day like today with the Tulu there. And the wall was well set, and Tuggeranong keeper had it well organised, but this is where they've had some problems. We've seen them play the ball out really, really short from the goal kicks, which is potentially a result of the wind. And we've seen them do little things where they've tried to play 1-2s or go very, very direct. And we've just got to be careful that they don't play into this trap. As you can see, Gungahlin sweep into that side where the ball is.
McCarran puts it right there. Daisy won the header. That's Rhiannon Daisley. Another goal at Deakin Stadium. Alice Churchill has doubled Canberra FC's lead, so they're looking set for 3 points. 2-0 up over Woden Western. Gungahlin leading here thanks to that early goal from Pennyfields. There was an early goal in the reserve grade game, 13 seconds in, and that was the only one. I don't think we've seen the only one here today. Mustaine sends that forward, and here's Chloe Daisley chasing. Ratalski showing her quality. Formed a good defensive pairing, yeah. Ratalski and Percival.
They certainly are one of the stronger ones. They'd be right up there with the pairing at Belconnen.
Pettyfield straight offside. We're right in line with that one. I think that's spot on.
Yeah, absolutely there. And you can see a Tulu in the middle of the park playing as that striker there. When she's not dropping off, she's actually starting to drop to the other side of play. So what she's deliberately doing is trying to attract those central defenders and really isolate the wide player, where they've had a lot of success. And the more she starts to do that, the more success they're going to have out wide. But it also opens the channel for her to run into to get in behind later on too.
Coates finds Helmers. There was Terry's ball forward. Sander was there. One butt by Bowie. Helmers again under pressure. And that one's a sore one for a Tulu who's stayed down off the ball out of your picture at the moment. I think copped that across the ankle, I think, as she was looking to block it.
Yeah,
Real sore one.
Yeah, one of those ones where you go to block it and the ball, you either get hit by the other player or the ball at the same time and potentially rolls the ankle. This would be a loss for Gungahlin if she can't carry on. I mean, although she may not have been involved in the initial goal, but her movement on and off the ball has created all kinds of problems, and it'd be an interesting reshuffle for Gungahlin if they had to. And maybe a little bit of a reprieve for Tuggeranong. Hopefully she's okay though.
Young bench for Diego Iglesias, Jade Brown, Neve Larkin and Danny Gaspari, the outfield players. Kelly Tonini, the substitute goalkeeper. If anything, I think it's got colder, and I'm not sure that's possible. Some people in the box behind us, they look quite warm.
Yeah, they look pretty good.
They look very warm in there.
Yeah.
Giving us a wave.
A little bit jealous, yeah. No gloves, no
We're
beanies.
no gloves or beanies in there.
Yeah.
It's freezing cold out here. They're enjoying themselves, watching the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a small chance here for both Gungahlin, but especially Tuggeranong, to take a couple of minutes and reset and replan and start to talk about a couple of tweaks and where they might have had some issues and how they can fix it going forward. So, mini half-time before half-time and a real chance to adjust and have a really solid 13 minutes. And Tulu doesn't
look very good, does it?
Way. No. And looks like the signal there was a no. So that's
it's one of those loose feet when
shame.
you hang your leg out there and the ball just takes it away from you, doesn't it? And those ligaments probably got a bit of a twist. Yeah. Let's hope it's not too bad and it doesn't keep her out for too long, because they'll want her fit for next week for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a loss today, but next week she being the focal point of their attack and being very demanding with Jade Brown, who I'll be hoping to come on and do a job now.
Has scored a goal this season, Jade Brown. Scored in the 3-0 win at Olympic. Wonder if this will mean a reshuffle in the formation, or do you think she'll just slot into the number 9 role?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether they just leave Brown in the 9, or they start to, or Jade Brown, sorry, or Ella Rose Brown into the 9. So it looks like Jade's going to slot straight in, but a little bit of a different player. I'd expect her to maybe play just a little more higher, trying to occupy the centre-backs. Jade Brown's a very good player, but probably not quite the technique as Elka has. So
we've now got 2 Browns, 2 DeMarcos and 3 Daisleys on the field.
Should be a really easy call then.
Here's Ella Brown, the first one. We just can't go wrong, really, can we? We'll clip forward towards Jade Brown. Not often that happens, is it? Here is Ella Brown. Finds a substitute, Jade Brown, back to Nat DeMarco. And Percival comes forward again, looks for the ball over the top, and again it's just overhit. Perhaps not compensating for this gusting wind, which is making life difficult on the field and making life difficult in the commentary box, to be honest.
Yeah, and the ball from Percival there was the right idea, maybe not perfectly executed, but it's something where Gungahlin have to be aware of the change of run and the change of style with Jade Brown coming on as well. So she's running a lot squarer at the moment and not necessarily looking for that space in behind, so there'll need to be adjustments there.
Again, that one's overhit and is going to roll off towards the car park. 10 minutes to go in the half. We're going to get a couple of minutes of stoppage time, obviously, for that injury to Elka Atulu. If you've just tuned in, you're watching live football on Bar TV Sports. Gungahlin United 1, Tuggeranong 0 in the Women's National Premier League. Erica Pennyfield's cross shot in the 5th minute. The only difference between the two sides, and as much as Gungahlin have dominated the possession in the territory, only leading 1-0, leaves the door open for Michael Aldred's team.
Yeah, absolutely. If they go in 1-0 down, they'll be happy with those efforts and they'll be able to build off there. And with the win behind them in the second half, you just kind of get the feeling that feeds into their game a little bit more and their ability to attack and find the pockets, especially with the lone striker high, and being able to get players like Helms and Bowie into wider areas.
If Tuggeranong, though, are to get something from this game, then they're going to need to do something they haven't done in the last 4 matches against Gungahlin United, and that's score a goal. 3 games last season, they drew a blank, 2 defeats, 3-0 here in round 4 and 3-0 in earlier in the season on the 10th of June. 2 games in 9 days there. And at the end of the season, they got a creditable 0-0 draw here. But again, didn't find a way through this Gungahlin defence. This one's an awkward one for McLaren, who did well as it bobbled on her.
Did very well.
Daisley goes back to Terry. Finds Helmers. And for all their industry so far this afternoon, they haven't looked like breaking that duck. They might now. Here's Lynn. Looks to slide one through for Bowie. See, she's got a decent strike on her, Alice Lynn. In the second half, from that kind of range, if Spice is going to stay that far out of her goal, there may be something on. Might be something on right now. Here's Chloe Daisley. Back to Helmers. She's not shy of a shot. Didn't get it right on that occasion, but first real shot in anger that Tuggeranong have had.
Yeah, that's it. And some warning signs for Gungahlin. And you're right, Russ. The second half with the wind behind them and the players that they have up front who can strike a ball, that'll be nervous. And you'll be looking at Sophie Spice there, who hasn't had to make a save, potentially having to make some that are unexpected from 30 yards out or more.
I mean, we've noticed, not just today, but in watching Gungahlin in the past as well, she likes to get involved with the ball to feet, so she is a long way from a goal line. And if there's someone in a green and white shirt that spots that, could be problems. But that's for then. Right about now. 8 minutes to half-time, 1-0 the difference. Touch from Jay Brown. She's chasing her own flick on. Mustaine's back there, but Jay Brown does well to win it.
Again, you can see the big hole that comes into that Tuggeranong back half when the 9 drops off and they follow in. And it's fine to have someone follow in, but somebody's got to fill that hole, whether the rest of the defence compact or a midfielder drops in.
Falls. Played it forward, but by then the whistle had gone. Free kick to Gungahlin United, and chance for them with the wind behind them to perhaps drop one into the danger area. I'm sure they'll send some bodies forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Percival's taking it, but maybe even Ratowski just on the edge of the 18-yard box is where you want that ball.
Well, they went early and only picked out Steph Coates. Bit of a waste, that one. Here's Helmers, and she's giving it away to DeMarco. Couldn't get past Coates, who can't in turn get past Jay Brown. Corbett picks up the pieces. Here's Ella Brown. Looks for the 1-2. It's going to stay in for Brown. Steps away from Helmers. Sander. Goes back to Ratowski. Here's Nat DeMarco. Wants to find Corbett. Can't get through the Tuggeranong defence, so she'll try again. Sustained period of passing possession for Gungahlin. Jay Brown, that's a bit short though. And Bowie stepped in. All a bit isolated, the Tuggeranong forwards, when they get it, and it's not helping them to keep possession. Here is Bowie battling away. Stella DeMarco won it, and here's a ball from Nat DeMarco. And Helmers should use all her experience to see this one out as Ella Brown lent into it, but it's a bit, when they get it in the front thirds, there's no real connection between the three Tuggeranong strikers at the moment. They're all very much on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke about having the lone striker, but they need support early, and even there, they've missed a real opportunity when they've turned that ball in a high area and unable to execute the pass. And with no connection, it makes it hard to break down a solid pairing like Percival and Ratowski at the back there.
It's Ratowski's ball forward. Here's Rhiannon Daisley. Happy to go back to Terry. Gets it back once more and tries to find Chloe Daisley down the wing. Sanders back there, though, and is happy to go back to Spice. Sander. Ratowski. Now Brown. It's a bit loose. Now here's Sarah Daisley. Can she conjure something for Tuggeranong? Got through the first challenge, not the second. Fell out for Rhiannon Daisley. Tried an ambitious effort. Swung away from her and didn't trouble the goalkeeper at all. And as we come close to the last 5 minutes of the half, Matt, the Tuggeranong need to find a way back, and how they're going to do that.
I think the key for Tuggeranong will be that midfield battle. They haven't been able to put enough pressure on, especially the two DeMarco girls, and Corbett's been allowed to float in and around in between the lines, but it's got to be a conscious effort to prevent the two DeMarcos from playing with each other and bringing everybody else into play. That, along with keeping that line organised and compact, if they can fix those two things, it means they're far more solid defensively, which is going to give them more opportunities to actually go forward and fix the combinations up front. But it's this midfield area now where they really, really, really need to focus on, and I'm sure that'll be something that Michael Aldridge in Tuggeranong coaching box we're going through is they get the turnover.
Here is a chance for Bowie to run forwards. Might come for Chloe Daisley. And Sarah Daisley tries one from luck, but she's cut across that. Full time at Wagga. Wagga City 2, Monero Panthers 0. So a second win of the season for Wagga City. So a big win for Wagga City.
Yeah, that's pleasing to see. The first year in the competition, picking up another win, and that'll be a real boost for the club and the players involved there, and certainly promising signs for them. And
Tuggeranong ending the half on a high here. Claire Falls wins the corner, and a chance for Tuggeranong to send some players through. Getting news through from the men's NPL, where the league leaders Tigers are down to 10 men. Christian Junner sent off. And they're 1-1 with Tuggeranong at the moment, so Canberra Olympic and Marcel Munoz's Gungahlin United will be happy with what's going on down there at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting game there, and the send-off always changes the picture. Be interesting to see how Tuggeranong attack this first corner here.
Chance for them to end the half with an opportunity, perhaps 3 minutes to go. They're 1-0 down, and first real opportunity from a set piece, and we've given it the big build-up, and it's landed in the side netting.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing there, and you can hear Tuggeranong there trying to get themselves organised early, and first chance for them to really put a high press on and maybe put Sophie Spice under a little bit of pressure.
Well, she takes the goal kick, just lifts it over the head of Lynn, almost too casually. Jay Brown's trodden on it, but managed to recover her feet, and here's Gambale off and running. Couldn't find Jay Brown. It's taken Gungahlin a couple of minutes to rediscover their formation after a Tulu's gone off, and not surprisingly. And Tuggeranong looking to take advantage. Here's Lynn. Finds Bowie. Twisting and turning. Can only find Corbett. Huge amount of space here for Ella Brown, who's offside. Flag goes up very quickly. And once again, Tuggeranong's offside trap working, but just.
Yes, that's right. You know, the fight got that line set on that occasion, which allowed them to sneak that offside. And just watching that little bit of play there from Tuggeranong when they had the ball, and they had 3 or 4 set in around that halfway for that ball in behind, which is positive signs for them going into that second half. But in the last 3 or 4 minutes, been able to get pressure in on that midfield, which is what we said that they were lacking.
There's 90 seconds or so plus stoppage time to go at the end of the first half. Gunners at the moment doing what they need to do. Helmers gets in. Good footing from Ratalski. Corbett. Jay Brown beaten to it by Coates, who scored in the win over Wagga City. Loses out to Ratalski, who happy to carry it forward straight into Sarah Daisley. Falls. Now Bowie. Corbett back defending on this occasion, and Helmers takes it off of Sarah Daisley. Tried to find Lynn, who's caught one in the head there. That's going to be another stoppage. Ran into the formidable figure of Percival at the back there.
Yeah, it's the last thing you want on a day like today. Is a
Gambale.
whack in the face. But she's up and moving, so that's a pleasing sign. But again, Tuggeranong, starting to ask some questions, which is good to see and encouraging.
Well, they will be encouraged. They're still in the match, and to be honest, the only goal they conceded was a rather fortunate effort, you'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Won't take anything away from Pennyfield, but I'm not sure she meant that.
A little bit more of luck than design.
Well, here she goes off down the right flank again. Not many in the middle. Brown arriving at the moment. Miriam McLaren should cut that out quite comfortably. And she's too quick for the forward line at the moment. Maybe Ella Brown needs to get through the middle and use her pace.
Yeah, absolutely, and potentially maybe it's even a change of run for Pennyfield as she gets in behind her. She starts to drive more towards goal and ask a different question then. So at the moment she's consistently hit to the byline and crossed the ball in, but if she's that much quicker than everybody else, maybe you start to charge in towards goal a little bit more and make the distances that your teammates have to cover
Pennyfield's
less.
found DeMarco, and here is Brown arriving on the far post. Chance if she stretches. Couldn't get there. Looks for that to Marco, but Rihanna Daisley's back. We're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Erica Pennyfield's goal the difference. Sander finds DeMarco. Corbett. Gets it back again. Will she try her luck from range? She will. It's dipping as well, and that wasn't too far away from Rachel Corbett. Right on the stroke of half-time. Would have been a killer second.
If they pinch a goal there, that's a heartbreaker, but nice interplay there from Brown. First time she's really, or second time probably, she's really been able to link up with a player, and you can tell the effect that Atulu not being there is having, and Corbett with an opportunity to bury one. 2-0 is a lot harder than 1-0.
I'm looking forward to half-time so I can go and warm up. It's the coldest I've been all season. The frigid north of Gungahlin. Goal kick is a bit short. Battle for the ball with Rutowski trying to force her way through. So with Jay Brown, I should say. DeMarco a bit short. Here is Rutowski in the defensive role. Sander struggling to get this one under control at the back. Gungahlin. And Terry's there. The midfield has been dominated in the first half by Corbett and the two DeMarcos. And that is the end of the action in the first 45 minutes. And Matt, Gungahlin have the lead, and on the basis of that they've had all of the possession, all right, albeit not creating too many opportunities, and they've hit the crossbar, they probably deserve to be ahead. Yeah,
absolutely. You couldn't argue with the scoreline as it is at the moment, but pleasing signs there for Tuggeranong. If I'm going to Tuggeranong, I'm really happy with where we're at. The loss of Atulu's changed the game a little bit, and as we've said a couple of times, I think Tuggeranong's style of play will really benefit from having that wind in the second half, and big adjustments to be made on both sides.
Well, we're all off to try and get some warmth back into our fingers at half-time here at Gungahlin enclosed. The goal from Erica Pennyfield in the early stages of the first half is the difference between the two. It's Gungahlin 1, Tuggeranong 0. Welcome back to Gungahlin in close. We're at half-time. Gungahlin United lead Tuggeranong 1-0 in the Women's National Premier League. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Joining me as he did in the first half is Matt Moore. Matt, I can see already that Beth Williams is coming on for Tuggeranong United, so they're making a change, and Gungahlin were forced to make the change in the first half, but we thought that Gungahlin would deserve it of their lead. What have Tuggeranong got to do to get back into this?
Yeah, Gungahlin certainly, worthy of their lead, and Tuggeranong United, the big key here will be, can they start to take control, a little bit more control in the midfield? Can they get pressure on DeMarco 1 and 2 and the tracing run of Corbett? With Atulu out, it's changed the dynamics of Gungahlin, which means the back line have less to worry about in terms of the movement, but it now becomes a midfield in front of them and the key to getting pressure on that ball and starting to utilise that wind and that pressure to be able to put Gungahlin back in their own area, because we haven't seen Sophie Spice have to make a save yet. So it'll be interesting to see if that moment comes, given how cold it is, and she must be as cold as we are because she's done about as much work as we have, and how she reacts.
Alice Lynn is the player replaced for Tuggeranong United. So Gungalin's lineup: Spice in goal, Gambale, Ratowski, Percival, Sander, Stella DeMarco, Rachel Corbett, Natalie DeMarco, Pennyfield, Jade Brown and Ella Brown. Tuggeranong's team: McLaren in goal, Terry Coates, Mustaine, Falls, Rihanna Daisley and Sarah Daisley, Helmers, Williams and Bowie, Chloe Daisley up front. So here is Beth Williams, the substitute, her first involvement. So Alice Lynch just hobbles to the bench. So maybe thought she was maybe struggling a little bit at half-time when we were having a chat, when we were fortunate to be in a warmer room than where we are now. And proven right, Matty. We were thinking that Atulu, her injury might keep her out next week as well, which might be a blow for Gungahlin.
Yeah, just the way she came off with Lynn going down. She's obviously not back today, but with Atulu going off, you just wonder with a 1 week turnaround.
As Corbett swings it into the penalty, a dangerous-looking ball. It's prodded away by Terry.
Yeah, with Atulu going down, that changes the game plan, and you'll have a week to adjust, but she'll be a massive loss if she can't come up for the Belconnen game next week.
There's Daisley. Ball sent forward by Williams, and it's a simple one for Spice, who is a long way from her goal. She does like to get involved, as we mentioned.
That's where if you can pinch that ball here. I mean, it's probably just off camera now, but Spice is sitting at her 18-yard box, and with that wind, there's the ability to get that cheeky chip in.
And here's Helmers, and we saw that she likes a shot in the first half. It's got very dark and gloomy as well, all of a sudden, doesn't it? As Tuggeranong looks to launch the first offensive raid of the second half. Ball in towards Bowie, who almost got a touch. It might fall for Daisley. She strikes it goalwards, but all the sting was taken out of it. Bright start to the second half for Tuggeranong. First opportunity. Here's Ella Brown. Jay Brown's gone in behind here, and the flag will stay down. It came off of Williams. Tries to force Jay Brown wide, but off she goes, and she's beaten the defender. And a good ball in. McLaren's there, but no one in a black and white shirt nearby.
McLaren's done well basically all day with those crosses. Other than the goal, she's been very rock solid. And Tuggeranong's big opportunity there really came from Steph Coates overlapping, which is the first time we've seen a defender being able to overload in any part of the pitch for Tuggeranong.
Bowie finds Daisley, and she wants Chloe Daisley to chase. And she's a willing runner, and she's got the pace on Gambale, who just changes her line to make sure she gets in the way. And that's a good piece of forward play by Chloe Daisley to force the throw.
Yeah, there's a real energy about Tuggeranong at the start of this second half. They really look like they've come out with a really definitive plan, and they know how they're going to go about it, almost like this is, what they expected and where they were ready to come from.
Here's Ella Brown, infield to DeMarco. Bit of room to manoeuvre. Players to the left, one of them's Corbett. Pennyfield even further left, and that's where it's gone. Sanders made the run outside. She neglected to come back in field and only found Coates. Here's Williams. Rihanna Daisley beaten to it by Corbett. All a bit loose at the start of the second half, and Sarah Daisley looking to make something happen for Tuggeranong, but she runs into DeMarco, who's off, and found Jay Brown in behind here. Real opportunity for Gunners. Can Brown make it two? She can't. Fires it to the wrong side of the post. Good ball, though, from DeMarco. Good run from Brown.
Yeah, absolutely. Well won in the middle of the park there, and a cheeky nutmeg from DeMarco, and she slipped it onto that right side of Brown, who who showed a good ability to get away and hold off the defender, and just the execution of the shot there. And that'll play on the mind a little bit of Tuggeranong, I think, there.
Has to go across the goalkeeper from that angle. Did well to get away from a marker, though. Nothing for McLaren to do, though, in terms of saving. Thumps it wide. And Helmers has let it roll across her body. Gunners get on with it quickly. This Pennyfields runs into trouble, and Rihanna Daisley picks it off for Tuggeranong. Too easy though for Gunners, and although Percival's overplayed this, and Chloe Daisley's trying to get away from her, but it's a bit of a mismatch in terms of physical size there. And Percival just eases Daisley off the ball, but doesn't give defenders a moment's peace.
No, you'd be annoyed with somebody having to come up against Daisley. I mean, she doesn't give up the fight, whether it's a lost cause or not. You know you're always under pressure, and half a misstep could turn into anything.
Some results from around the grades. Wagga 2, Monero Panthers 0. Christina Grau-Compost with the second goal there for Wagga, their second win of the season. And goals from Jamie Berkeley and Alice Churchill have given Canberra FC a 2-0 win over Woden Western, which puts them on to 20 points. And will keep them on the coattails of Gungahlin should this result stay the same here in the Men's Premier League at half-time. Big clash there. Tuggeranong 1, Tigers 1. Nico Abbott gave Tigers the lead. Sam Isabella on debut equalising for Tuggeranong, who are playing against 10 men. Christian Juna sent off for the Tigers, and that might swing the momentum in Tuggeranong's favour and for Gabby Wilk and his team. Big 45 minutes ahead there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The FFA Cup representatives, of course, this year, having won that last week. They eventually got the game finished after the fog threatened to keep it going.
Yeah, I went to tune in for extra time, and there was no one there. I thought I was tuned into a horror film as the fog rolled across.
Rolled across, didn't it? Well, it's only one game I was glad to miss.
Yeah.
Sent forward towards Daisley and putting the pressure on. Happy to go back to Spice, and Wachowski is very comfortable today. DeMarco's touch, but picked off by Helmers. Now here's a chance for Chloe Daisley. Takes it into stride. He's still going. Opportunity here and fires it in. And the first save of the afternoon for Spice is a good one on the near post, because it may well have been creeping in.
Yeah, absolutely. She's covered that near post well there. And Daisley, again, being able to pick up that ball and pinch and get the return ball and having a great strike. You could argue she had players in the middle, but again, it creates a different option. And Spice, first time she's called upon, and she's done her job, and she's done it very, very well. And interesting to see what happens with the corner now.
I'm sure Tuggeranong will throw some bodies in there. They've committed 4 or 5 to the attack. They're still keeping a fair few back, though. Options on short.
Yeah, Steph Coates will be the one that you'd be almost looking for here. She's such a presence in the air that...
We saw her score a header against Wagga City from a corner not a couple of weeks ago, live on Bar TV Sports. Well, as you said, Matt, this should be the obvious target. DeMarco's marking her, and it is swung in towards Coates. The keeper's come, and it's cleared off the line. Almost by Gungahlin. It may have been dropping in. They had the keeper worried and beaten.
Good advertisement for having people on post for corners there. Without Gungahlin, that's a 50-50 bet whether that goes in, and I think it might have just been sneaking in, to be honest.
Difficult to see from this angle, but couldn't take the risk. Ruby Gungahlin got the body in the way and got rid of it. Very thankful for a goalkeeper, I'd imagine. Looking ahead to next week, I mentioned it's round 12 in the Women's National Premier League. Fixtures on Saturday: Canberra United Academy versus Wagga City Wanderers, and Belconnen United versus Gungahlin United, where myself and Matt Moore will hopefully be a lot warmer than we are here. And Sunday, Tuggeranong versus Monero Panthers and Canberra Olympic versus Canberra FC. So some intriguing fixtures as the WNPL reaches round 12, live and free on Bar TV. Here's DeMarco. Men's fixtures, of course, next week as well, and football never stops, does it? Isn't it great?
That's it. That's what we love about it. It really is a 12-month game, whether it's here or in the other hemisphere. It's fantastic. There's
always something to watch
and
enjoy. And whilst this hasn't been the most fluent we've seen Gungahlin this season. Sometimes these are the games you've got to scrap your way through, get your 3 points, and keep the pressure on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to run and gun your game while everything's fluid and going well, but when you've actually got to grind something out and work a little bit harder, sometimes they're a little more pleasing than, or as pleasing in the very least, in terms of the games where it all flows and you walk away with a 4 or 5-0 win. It shows that you can win multiple ways, and that's what you're going to have to do if you're going to take a trophy.
Should you win something at the end of the season, you very rarely remember how you did it.
That's true. That is absolutely true.
Doesn't matter, really, as long as the points are on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Brown on the far side. Looking to find Sander, very strong in the tackle, and here is Ella Brown. Bit of space in midfield now for Gungahlin. They've runners ahead. Corbett couldn't force it through the first attempt or the second, and Williams was in the way for Tuggeranong.
Yeah, interesting from Gungahlin there. So they started Pennyfield over on that left-hand side, and she didn't get any joy from Zoe Terry early, and it looks like she's now drifted back to this right-hand side, maybe looking to recreate what happened in that first half.
It's a chance for the Gunners, and Falls needs to defend it well, and she does. Need to get some contact on it, otherwise Pennyfield would have got in. Gungahlin trotting across to take the throw. She'll try and launch this if she can. DeMarco's made a great run. No one's picked her up and been found by Gungahlin, but that's unlike Nat DeMarco. Her first touch lets her down.
Yeah, probably a little bit lucky for Tuggeranong there. She's got that ability to get that separation, and normally her touch is pinpoint. And interesting to see how Tuggeranong attack this play out.
The shirt looks massive on Nat DeMarco, doesn't it?
It does. She might have needed one of the mini roos that were playing at half time.
Yeah, they were enjoying themselves, weren't they? Running around out there, playing off some steam. Most of them that were kicking around us in the box behind us, which we went into at half time. Quite nice for the warmth.
Yep.
Maybe she's just gone for the longer fit to keep warmer.
Yeah. Can't blame her for that.
Here's Bowie. Nicely done. Brings it down. Can't get away from Gungahlin, though. Pennyfield. Gungahlin in front of the benches. Touch from Jade Brown. Williams was there, but can only force it out for a Gungahlin throw.
Tuggeranong's done well here. They've really narrowed the game off. So you could basically put almost all 20 outfield players into a quarter of the field here, and it's making it very, very hard to break down. And Gungahlin gonna need to find a way to find that open side on the far field to really get a lot of success, you think.
Here's Brown looking to turn and find Pennyfield, and she's stayed on side here, Erica Pennyfield. Only Ella Brown to pick out in the middle, and she's overhit that one. And that should roll away all the way out of play unless DeMarco can keep it in. She does. Sander. Back to Corbett. Can she deliver from range? Lifts one in, and that's a good header clear from Coates. Needed to be. Daisley to Williams. Chloe Daisley can't bring it in. Tuggeranong United, this fixture, one of 4 over the next 3 weeks or so, where they play the top teams. Balcony United, Monero Panthers at home next, but then Balcony United at home and Canberra United Academy at home. So some big fixtures coming up for Michael Aldridge's team as they repeat the fixtures from the first round of the season. Turn from Daisley. Is Pennyfield. For Gungahlin United, they play Balcony United away, of course. Then Woden Western at home and Canberra Olympic at home. So they'll be hoping to pick up some points from those matches. For Tuggeranong, though, this season, there have been some heavy defeats. They got beat 6-0 by Gungahlin, as we said, in round 2, 8-0 by Balcony, 6-0 by the Academy, 8-0 by FC. Perhaps the most disappointing was the Federation Cup quarter-final defeat, lost 8-0 to Canberra Olympic, who they subsequently beat in the league. We'll come back to that point in a second. Pennyfield is offside. So it's been a bit of a up-and-down season for them, but they have found some form in recent weeks. The 2-0 win in round 8, round 9 the bye, and then Wagga City 2-0 in round 10, and they're still in this one today. Yeah,
absolutely. You touched on the FFA Cup, or the Federation Cup there, and that would have been a disappointing result. But credit to the group and the coaching staff at Tuggeranong. They've held firm and they've built a plan, and they're starting to reap some rewards. And you would think, based on today and what they've done so far, they're going to cause those top teams that they're coming up against a little bit of trouble. People might be thinking it'll be an easier task, but that second time around against Tuggeranong, as you can see from today, it's going to be no easy feat.
Gungahlin United also disappointed in the Federation Cup, beaten 4-0 by Woden Western. If I remember rightly, all 4 of those goals were in the first half. It was done and dusted by then. Here's Pennyfield. Brown bursting through the middle. Can Pennyfield deliver it towards Brown? She can. Here is Ella Brown. Misses her kick. Still might come on the far post for Jade Brown. Back to Sander. Corbett. Nat DeMarco lining one up. Thought about it. Instead finds Pennyfield, who's offside again. Ella Brown swung a leg of that more with desperation than anything else. Didn't look like it on the end of it.
No, but positive sign that at least she was able to get on the end of it. We mentioned in the first half that when Pennyfield broke through, they couldn't.
Daisley putting pressure on Ratalski. Spice comfortably forward, but only as far as Bowie. Gets away from Gambale. Sophie Bowie tries to force it through. It might come from Rhiannon Daisley. Good block from Stella DeMarco, and Ratalski can bring the loose ball away. And then that's picked off by Coates, who in turn is picked off by Sander.
She read that well, Coates, because that ball was heading through that gap, and if she hadn't won it, then Gungahlin were in a way and potentially on a 1v1 with the goal down the other end.
Well, Williams' introduction means that Coates can float forward, and here she is, trying to keep this in. She's not going to. Williams happy to drop into that central defensive role.
Yeah, which is key, and we touched on Steph Coates before the game that she was kind of the heart and soul of this group, and you can even see in the first 15 minutes of the second half, more involvement from her has led to a lot more positive outcomes for Tuggeranong going forward.
And still, only the 1 goal between the sides. Here's Gambale. Percival tried to squeeze that through a gap that wasn't there.
It's dangerous for Gungahlin. I mean, we've spoken that they've had the majority of the play and they've looked more comfortable than not, but 1-0's 1-0, and it takes, the reserve grade game, it took 13 seconds, and the whole thing changes.
Falls back to it was 13 seconds, as you said. Mackenzie Alcock scored the goal. She's on the bench. Might see her. In fact, I think that might be her that snuck on there.
Oh, did they make a sub?
We'll have a look. I didn't see it may happen. There's Bowie on the turn. Ball forwards. Williams' touch. And it's prodded forward towards Daisley.
Don't mind the idea, though, there from Daisley. You're a little bit of the way out, but the keeper's off her line. If you can get the good connection there, as we've said before, you've got a good chance of chipping. And Daisley looks like she's signalled to the bench that she's running out of puff.
Tuggeranong need to find a way back in. Half an hour or so to go, including stoppage time. Spices have more to do this half. She hasn't had a save as such to make yet, except for the near post one, which you would expect to keep out. We're going to see a change here for Tuggeranong. It's Jana El Istanbuli who's going to come on. Nominally a defender. And that's a rest for Daisley, who's worked very hard.
Yeah, she's put in a great shift there, and something that we spoke about at half-time, and it looks like that Helms it's going to go into the central midfield role, and they've pushed Zoe Terry up into the wider right wing role there. So that'll be interesting. Her pace might cause Sanders a little bit more of an issue, and she's quite direct in the way that she plays too.
Here's Pennyfield. Brown looks for Pennyfield again. Chance for her to pick out a shirt, and she can't. Bowie. Tuggeranong can't get hold of the ball at the moment. Here's a chance for Pennyfield. Swings it into the middle. Swing and a miss. Tuggeranong United still trying to find a way into the contest that they've never really been out of. Gungahlin with the throw. Gets it back again, swings it deep towards the far post. Good win from Williams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Get the feeling that Matt's second gunner's goal might kill this one off, and it might come here with a strike from distance.
Yeah, you think the second goal would be a little bit of a heartbreaker there because they've had some opportunities there where they've tried to build in and they've fired a couple of warning shots, but 2-0 down. If they go 2-0 down the next 5 minutes or so, you'd think that's a bridge too far, and you can see some of the Tuggeranong girls really starting to stretch their legs out and potentially battle a bit of fatigue now, so that makes it a little bit tougher going forward.
As the day gets darker in the national capital. Rutalski. And Percival finds Sander wide. Gunners looking for what would, as we said, be a probably killer second goal. Here's Rhiannon Daisley there for Tuggeranong, still in the contest, still looking for a way back. Goals had been at a premium for them before the last couple of weeks. Chases on.
Oh, good pace.
For Helmers here. She might get in behind. There's options in the middle, but can't wrap her foot around it. But good pace.
Yeah, very good pace there, and probably a little bit extra pace that Rutalski and Percival haven't had to deal with yet. So that, again, changes the dynamics. And we spoke about potentially how this wing could assist Tuggeranong in the second half, and with Helm's pace up front, then that seems to be the case.
Spice with the goal kick. Straight down the middle. Have Tuggeranong got a spark in them from somewhere to find an equaliser? Now this time Bully's ball forwards. Helmers will chase, but it's an easy one for Percival. Plenty of time to pick a pass. And they'll work it out from the back as they normally do, and then Percival's ball forward. Nice touch from DeMarco. Finds Stella DeMarco. Runners ahead. It's Brown, and she's straight offside as well. And this is how many we had this afternoon? Probably about 20 now.
Yeah, that line when Tuggeranong get it set, it works really well. And Gungahlin all day haven't been able to adjust their runs. They're all very, very straight runs as well. There's no sort of angled run there that allows them to stay in line with that central defence area. And that's a bit of a problem.
Coates ran that one forward. It's going to come straight back through to Marco. Pennyfield. Gungahlin. Here's DeMarco. Good closing down from Rhiannon Daisley.
Yeah, I just start to wonder if there's a thought process maybe on the Tuggeranong United bench as we get closer and it stays at 1-0. Do you start to match the formation of Gungahlin? So they've had control. We've had issues getting control in that midfield, and if they can match the formation, maybe go to the 4-3-3, and that allows you to put a little more pressure on Gungahlin's back four because they've looked shaky when they've been under pressure, and potentially allows you to take care of that midfield three of Gungahlin a little bit easier. And it'd be interesting to see if there's a couple of tactical tweaks as we start to go along.
Halfway through the half. One by Falls, happy to concede the throw. It's Harvey loops it forwards and out of play. The game's sort of fizzling out at the moment. They need someone to spark it into life. It's Tuggeranong looking to find an equaliser, but Gungahlin more than happy just to knock it around.
Yeah, really kind of need someone to just stamp their authority on the game and really take control. And whether it be, you think one more goal will kill it off, but you would think for Gungahlin, but you think that one more goal might lead to a few more as well. Whereas if Tuggeranong can get that goal, you think the game itself sparks into life.
And they're really missing. You can see how pivotal Atulu is to this lineup in terms of what she brings holding the ball up front. It's not really working for them just yet. They're going to get a free kick here, Tuggeranong. Foul on Helmers. In a dangerous position with the wind behind as well. And this might be something that Sophie Spice needs to be careful of.
Yeah, it's a tricky one with that wind because that wind's going to naturally pull it. You'd almost be looking, if you could, depending on how Gungahlin set up and the way they're set up here, you'd almost be looking at that front post area towards the edge of the 6. And if it goes a little bit too heavy, it's going to drift towards the back post. But if it's right at that near post, anything's possible.
Rihanna Daisley lining it up. Can she deliver something of quality for Tuggeranong? Lifts it in there. It's a dangerous ball. Bouncing around the box. Real chance for an equaliser, and it's been stabbed wide by Sophie Bowie. Couldn't get enough on it, could she? Just enough pressure on it, I think, from the Gunners' defence to concede the corner.
Yeah, an absolutely great ball in too. Perfect ball. Really lend itself to a contest and just couldn't quite get enough on it. I think it might have been Corbett that got the last touch, but great little ball in there and maybe some sustained pressure.
Chance to repeat the feat. Goes short this time to Falls. Back to Daisley, and then delivery this time is less accurate. Floats away, and that's a bit disappointing from Michael Aldridge's point of view. You've seen it deliver something excellent a few seconds ago, and then they come short.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You'd pull your hair out a little bit, given the delivery that she'd just done before, given the fact that the wind is a massive factor here. Yes, she's left-footed, but that wind will start to take care of some of that natural arc. And
well, that's Coates has absolutely cleaned out DeMarco here. She's going to get a yellow card for that, you'd think. It would be very unfortunate to apologises, got it all wrong. I think that was more mistimed than malice.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Steph Coates there apologising immediately and
takes the yellow card on the chin.
Yeah. And then
DeMarco took one on the back.
Yeah, a little bit of whiplash maybe there for DeMarco in the next couple of days. But just back to that corner, I mean, all the opportunities that Tuggeranong have created have been through deliveries that have come in the wide area that Gungahlin haven't necessarily dealt with as effectively as you would like. So you would think that direct ball in is the better way to go.
Gungahlin up to Ella Brown. Back to Gungahlin again. Brown's touch. Challenge in there from Coates. And Falls will take the throw for Tuggeranong. Touch from Gungahlin, and Brown's just poked that into some space, hoping that someone will chase.
Just watching the back two of Percival and Ratowski, and they've just got to be a little bit careful. They're not paying Helms a great deal of respect as the ball's coming in for a throw, and they're kind of leaving her alone in the middle of the field all on her own. And if you do that, I think you're asking for trouble.
Williams sends it forward. Percival finds DeMarco, who loses out to Helmers. Now she looks up, and off she goes. She's got pace and power, and she has got a decent strike on her and forces Spice into a save. And then Bowie straight back as well. That was a half chance there from Helmers and showed exactly what you said. Meanwhile, Pennyfield's got away at the other end. Chance for her to fire something, a goal as well, and that had McLaren scrambling across her 6-yard box and wasn't too far away.
Yeah, no, I thought she got a touch on there for a second, but she scrambled away. She's moving one way, has had to dramatically go the other. And you can just see the midfield from Tuggeranong there is flowing out to try and take care of Percival, which has just opened up that hole through the middle and allowed them to get through. If they can keep that midfield 3-block set and ask Percival to do something different instead of the short controlled ball, I think that gives them a greater opportunity of creating the turnover.
Terry's touch. Alice Stambouli beaten to it by DeMarco, who gets it back from Brown inside the area. Terry's back there to defend. Sander. Not DeMarco. And then Coates is there. Rihanna Daisy flicks on, but she's going to have to chase her own flick on here. Thankless task. Spice has come out to deal with it. Sends it back into a danger area. Here's Gungahlin. Falls makes the challenge.
Yeah, be mixed feelings from Diego Iglesias there. He'd be happy that Sophie Spice came out, but maybe not necessarily that she's put it down the middle of the park. Because if that falls to anybody but DeMarco, there's probably an argument to say that touch doesn't allow them to get away with that decision.
Especially with the wind, like you said, but we've mentioned it a couple of times, so the wind is howling from right to left. Any sort of contact would be a danger. Got a feeling this one's not quite over yet. 16 minutes to go, and Gungahlin still lead 1-0, but haven't looked a comfortable 1-0 in this second half. And Tuggeranong United, who started the half brightly, have created a couple of half chances.
Yeah, they're holding their own, and look like we spoke about possible tactical changes, and it looks like they've got Daisley now sitting a little bit closer to Helms to try and stop her from being so isolated.
And Helmers through the middle, which we talked about in the first half as well. Talking about through the middle, here's a real chance. This could seal it. And somehow the challenge foils Corbett, who had stolen in.
She's never quite got that controlling touch, Corbett. She just let it run and kept waiting. And Coates, as we said before, she's been in and around the second half, and she's come out and made a great tackle.
Gungahlin with a throw. Corbett can to turn and find something in the area. Brown was the target. Helmers brings it down nicely, but is on her own. Rhiannon Daisley, DeMarco, her omnipresent shadow. Good footing from Sander. Terry's advanced forwards. Now she'll need to get back and help out. El Istanbuli in towards Sarah Daisy, gets a toe on it. Can't squeeze it past the Gunners midfield though, and Diego Iglesias' team will start again with Gungahlin looking to swing it towards Brown. Nice touch that to DeMarco. Brown wants a return, and she's got it. Real chance here for Ella Brown, bearing down a goal. Can she seal it? She can. Slides it past the keeper just like that. Her 7th of the season, and the Gunners have a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, good little change of play there, and a nice little killer pass, and the first real shot on goal that Ella Brown has had today, and she's made no mistakes, and that'll be a little bit of heartbreak there for Tuggeranong. And 15 minutes to go, you think it's a gap too far, but you can hear Michael Aldridge on the bench really continuing to drive his Tuggeranong players home. And
comfortable finish, wasn't it? Never looked like missing once you got in.
Yeah, no, it's straight in behind, side foot, no issues. And
so last involvement.
Yeah, look, not a bad way to sign off for the day.
Neve Larkin comes on.
And it looks like a possible change of formation too, because Larkin more known as a midfield there, so potentially they're looking to shore things up to ensure that...
Play with no strikers.
Yeah.
Williams sends it forward. It's 2-0 to Gunners, and it's a second goal. It's going to make it difficult for Tuggeranong United to get back into this. As DeMarco runs into Bowie, swings it in, and good header from Percival. Will concede the corner though.
And hopefully we see that direct delivery in there now, as we see Coates start to come forward. But if you can get it now, if you can pinch that goal now and get it straight back to 2-1.
Could get some lights on, mate. Yeah. It's getting a bit dark.
It's getting a bit dark.
Got 15 minutes to go still. Yeah. Sarah Daisley with the set piece. Again, Tuggeranong don't commit too many bodies in there. And delivery is a decent one. Spice needs to come. Hasn't got near it, and it was Coates, I think, who threw herself at it. And having won the header, she'll be disappointed she's not put that in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But great delivery there. And again, Spice came out but couldn't quite manage that ball. And Coates, the target, she will be disappointed inside that 6-yard box. You'd expect her to hit the target absolutely from there. Alongside
Jessie Rashart, probably one of the best headers of the ball in the women's game.
Yeah, absolutely. Coates, Rashart and Pike are probably the top three from those set-piece corner aspects.
All three defenders don't mind a goal or two, especially Bronte Pike. Yeah. I think she's a frustrated centre forward myself. Helmer's trying to turn. And Gunners can bring it away. Here's DeMarco. Looking for Pennyfields. Rhiannon Daisy picks it up. It looks like she was fouled by Stella DeMarco. Nia Southwell says she was, and a chance for Tuggeranong for the free kick. Putting a little bit of pressure on Gungahlin.
Yeah, not packed it in by any means, which will please the coaching staff. But Just interesting. So the Coates is going to take it. So you wonder if we're going straight to goal now because your best target.
She might do.
There.
Spicer's put a wall of 3 in front of it, and Coates does lift it into a danger area, and too easy for the goalkeeper. I think that's the furthest out I've ever seen a free kick have a wall.
Yeah, she's picked it up at her ankles and thought she was going to spill it for a second.
Here's DeMarco, and the flag should stay down here because Larkin, I think, come from an onside position for me.
Yeah, I'd agree, Russ. I'd agree. I think Jade Brown was definitely offside, but I don't think she necessarily interfered with play, and Larkin had made a good late run.
But we don't have the flag. And free kick is a decision.
Probably for good reason on most occasions for me.
Mate, there's no way I could run that far or for that long. Barely made it up the steps to the back of the stands in Gungahlin. It is a very steep stand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good view from up here. Here is Larkin, looking to force her way through. DeMarco. Larkin again. And hits Pennyfield this time, and this one is miles offside. Fair enough.
Yeah. No argument there at all.
None at all. Massive goal in the men's NPL with 12 minutes to go. Tuggeranong 1, Tigers 2. The 10 men of Kuma have the lead.
How many times? How many times does a team go down to 10 men and they manage to pick that winner up? It always amazes me. It really, really does.
It's incredible, isn't it, really, the amount of times it happens. It's almost like they lift for some reason, and that'll be massively disappointing for Mitch Stevens.
Yeah.
I think we've substituted the substitute here, haven't we?
We have.
Jade Brown's come off.
And Danny Gaspari's come on.
Again, not often you see that, but you've got to remember in the women's NPL that Jade Brown's probably played 70 or 80 minutes in the reserves.
Yeah, absolutely. And put a big shift there, and she came on far earlier than it would have been anticipated with the injury to Atulu there. And you know, while Gungahlin lost a bit of fluency, she can certainly hold her head up high for a good day's effort.
She worked hard, helped her team with helping towards the second goal with her run off the ball. It created the space for Ella Brown to go through the gap and tuck it away. But Tuggeranong still haven't given this one up yet. 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Percival lifts that one forward. It's come off the heel of Corbett. That's well done by Rutowski, who impresses us every time we see her.
Yeah, big fan of Rutowski, and should be somebody that any coach should be happy to have in their centre back line. You can really build that back four up. Just seems really composed. Nothing. I haven't seen her ever get flustered.
Reads the game incredibly well as well, doesn't she? I mean, steps in. Her and Percival, as we mentioned in the first half, one of the best centre-back pairings in the competition. And whilst they might be going away with 3 points this week, they'll have their work cut out next week when we're at McKellar for the league leaders, Gungahlin United, who have seen their advantage at the top cut to 3 points this weekend, although they do have 2 games in hand.
Yeah. Had the bye this weekend, and no doubt the Gungahlin players relaxed. I'm sure Ant's taking the chance to do some fishing as well.
It's down the coast somewhere, I think. That's a great ball forward, and DeMarco's nipped in behind. Can she find Pennyfield in support? Swing towards the far post, and chance for Gaspari. The orange boots. Finds Larkin. Swing and a miss. Might come for Larkin again. This time she gets some contact, and a decent save by McLaren.
Yeah, left a couple of goals on the field today, Gungahlin. Those balls from Pennyfield, there's probably been 3 or 4 where they just haven't been able to get anybody on the end of them. And it's been a mixture of the delivery, but also the runs, the kind of runs that are being made forward. The narrowness that they've played with on the far side hasn't really allowed them to get onto the end of crosses, and that's something they won't be able to afford to do next week.
Here's DeMarco, lofting it over the top. Great ball that is. Here's Corbett, and straight down the throat of McLaren. Lovely ball from DeMarco again. Gungahlin United not noted for the goals they concede, only 1 in the league this season. And that was massively assisted by Rashard, knocking it past their own goalkeeper. Here's a chance for Larkin. Pennyfield. Again, the cross is too deep. Needs to take a little bit off that.
Yeah.
Use the old pitching wedge rather than the 9-iron, as we'd say. She gets into so many good positions, though, Erica Pennyfield.
It's just consistent week in and week out. Holds her line well, consistently beat players 1v1, but is also smart enough to recognise when the space is gone and cut back in. And
Larkin finds Nat DeMarco. Wants it back, the substitutes. Good move again, this. Here's Pennyfield, no chance again to deliver. This time she goes for goal herself. It's dipping as well, and it wasn't too far away. McLaren was nowhere near it. And if it had dipped, it was top corner.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about the purpose behind that one. Might have been question marks about the first goal, but that one, for all money, I thought was heading to that top corner. She struck it well, and I guess that's one way to solve the crossing dilemma. If you just drill it into the goal, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, no one's worrying if it nestles into the top corner, are they? Into the final 6 minutes. Stella DeMarco steps away again, and so looking further ahead, and we will talk about it more in depth next week, of course, and Gungalin's challenge against Belconnen. How important do you think the DeMarco pairing in midfield is going to be against that Belconnen side in trying to pick apart the defence that has only conceded the one league goal all season?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think they both bring something incredibly different. They're both technically very good, but they're both smart, and the fact that they've got Corbett in there who gives that physical presence as well, allows them a little more freedom to interchange and do what they do. And people who underestimate, I've made the comment that they're not the biggest, but people underestimate their physicality are in for a rude shock. And, you look at Belconnen's last outing against Woden Western, their midfield three weren't that impressive. So there's a real opportunity there if those midfield three come back from a week off a bit rusty, that these three, those DeMarco 1 and 2 especially, can cause some real damage.
Looking forward to that one next week. 5 minutes to go here. Karen Tuggeranong give themselves a lifeline. Elmer's up in this attack, and she's going on her own. If she pulls this back, just did a little bit too much. Still throwing bodies forward though.
Yeah, absolutely. Ran out of room there and couldn't quite get the cut back, but all credit to them. They had two people arriving and a third just behind that. So that would give them a lot of heart. And we said they were in form. They had a bit of momentum, and they're dragging that through the whole 90 minutes today.
Well, they consider that it was 6-0 in round 2 at home. This is a much better performance from Michael Aldred and his team as the sun sets across Gungahlin.
I feel like that's the first time I've seen the sun for about an hour.
Hasn't done much to help the temperature at all, though, is it, to be fair? Yeah. Fair bit of work going on around here. Since we first came in many years ago.
Yeah.
Had an FFA Cup match here for Gungahlin United in the round of 32. At this particular venue. Here's Gambali. Can't keep it in play. Coates has it, but it should be a throw. It's a fair play to Nia Southwell for wearing the short sleeve shirt. Both their assistants on this near side have got jackets on.
Yeah, when you compare it to the number of the players who've got undergarments on underneath, she's certainly braver than I am.
Good ball that from Helmers. Real chance here for Daisley. Can she get it on the left foot to hit one? Chose not to. And that's a good piece of defending again from Rotowski. Only finds Falls, who lifts one back towards goal. Ambitious efforts. But what we said, probably worth having a go with the wind.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned that a few times, but nice little ball there in behind from Tuggeranong. Some good real interchange of play, but again, Rotowski, no panic, just sits there, allows the player to turn away, waits, picks off the ball at the right moment, and away they go.
2.5 minutes to go. Looking like it's Gungahlin United's afternoon. Alestan Pooley trying to get something back for Tuggeranong. They need a goal soon if they were to pull off a miraculous recovery. Here's Larkin. Saw Belconnen United come from 2-0 down in the NPL yesterday to beat Woden Western 4-2. Although their recovery started a lot sooner than this. There's no real award for it, Matt, but if you were going to give out a player of the match, who would it be today?
Yeah, I think for me today it's probably Nat DeMarco's been the key. She, if you went for that 3-2-1 aspect, she would definitely be the three for me. She's although they haven't looked as fluid, she's been the one who's always been most likely. She's the one who's created the little gaps and the little in-betweens, and then after that you look at somebody like Erica Pennyfield, who's got the goal but consistently caused havoc, and then Ratowski at the back. They'd be my top three for the day, absolutely, and Steph Coates probably unlucky to miss out if we went down that path.
Coates at the back, been sandwiched in by Pennyfield and DeMarco. 3 of the 4 you mentioned in that very shot, mate.
Yeah, but I'm sure if Stella DeMarco hears that, she'll be having words with me at Nationals training on Wednesday night.
Oh, 100%. That's why we ask you and I don't give it myself. I'd like to put you on the spot.
Yeah. Hey, coach, why didn't I get any votes?
Well, she could change that by scoring in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Here's Ratowski. Misplaces that one, head in hands. So job well done for her today.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very, very fine performance, and just solid again. Solid more and more.
Bit of space for DeMarco. Squeezes it wide to Pennyfield, falls his back chasing. Pennyfield's lifted one goalwards, and again it wasn't too far away. McLaren, though, I think had that one covered. The final 20 seconds or so. Just a reminder that in the NPL, Tigers with 10 men lead Tuggeranong by 2-1. A couple of results from here today as well. Canberra FC beating Woden Western in the WNPL 2-0. And Wagga City with their second win of the season, 2-0 against Monero Panthers. They'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good reward for effort there, and they've had a tough first year.
Here is DeMarco from range. It's dipping. It's hit the inside the bar. It may have crossed the line, did it? No, it came back out. Yeah. Well, that was your answer.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I got a bit nervous there about my conversation on Wednesday at training. So.
It did. Well, the angle looked like it may have gone behind the line from here, but obviously it's difficult to tell.
Yeah. I thought it was definitely at least on, but as we know, the whole ball and no VAR or fancy goal watchers here, so we'll back the officials' decision, and it
Absolutely.
Gets me out of a tight spot too. So
well, might not be over yet, as here's a chance for 3. McLaren makes a save. It's still going to go in, though. This time it is. Just rolled in by Ruby Gambale. Denied at the first instance by McLaren, but perseverance pays off, and Gungahlin have a third.
Yeah, good reward from Gambale. Not the first time that she's really driven forward today. We mentioned earlier in the first half where she was the one flying through the middle to get on the end of a cross, and very industrious, huge engines, and she's got in that space well and didn't panic. Calmly put it away on that second effort, because we've seen plenty of players, have the mishap there and put it wide or put it over the bar.
The first of the season, the fullback. Possibly a little hush from Tuggeranong United, but Gunners convincing victors as we enter stoppage time. That's what you want, though. 91st minute of the game, and your right back is about 95 yards from goal. Slot in one past the keeper at the second attempt.
Yeah, it gives you a good insight into the drive and the culture of the club, and making sure that, from first whistle to last, everybody's doing their job and trying to drive and take those opportunities. So that'll be really pleasing for them, and we'll give them good belief going into next week as well.
We keep mentioning it. Gungahlin Belconnen next week. McKellar Park, 3 o'clock. Myself and Matt Moore will be there in shorts and T-shirt as the final whistle goes near Southwell. Brings this one to a close, and Gungahlin, ever since they took the lead in the 5th minute, never looked like losing the match. But Tuggeranong, to their credit, never gave up. And in the end, though, a 3-0 win, probably fair.
Yeah, look, Gungahlin always in control, and a good effort there from Tuggeranong. The late goal making it 3-0 it's probably on par, but Tuggeranong can take a lot of heart from this. This is a top 4 team that they've really pushed, and they hung with that top side for a long, long time, and should give them a lot of confidence going forward, and chance for Gungahlin to win ugly a little bit, which is a good sign, I think, for them.
Thanks for your company, Matt. Will join me again next week at McKellar Park. It's a result today that's pulled Gungahlin United within 4 points of the top of the table, having both played 9 games, Belconnen and the Gunners. Goals in the first half from Erica Pennyfield in the 5th minute, then Ella Brown second with 14 minutes to play, all rounded off by Ruby Gambale in stoppage time on a freezing cold afternoon. We're going to hopefully warm up and thaw out before next weekend. It's finished at Gungahlin closed. Gungahlin United 3, Tuggeranong United 0.